know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. And that's what we do in ISUBK.
I like that introduction. I'm gonna pass right over to let's pass to the bishop if you don't mind.
Man, you should get to that man that pepper.
Do the priest if you don't mind. Introduce yourself. Let them know.
Are you sure? Okay.
Yeah, let them know where you're from and what do you represent, sir?
Listen, this is the priest, the street priest. I'm from Dallas, DFW. Texas born, Texas raised. And what I believe in is that I love God all the way down through there. What God has brought me from, where I'm at now, and where God is going to take me. I love God because when I didn't even know there was a God, God was there. I love God more than anything on this earth, to where as they say God died for us, I would die for God.
You better. All right. All right. Bishop, go ahead, introduce yourself, tell where you're from, and what it is that you represent.
I represent the Creator, the Most High, and I'm from South Dallas, Bunton, Parkville, Texas, and I love the Lord, and I love kicking the devil's tail.
All right. Well, let's go and get started. All right. I want to raise the question, and I'm gonna try to moderate this thing, and then I'm gonna let those speak. If someone's talking for probably more than 3 to 4 minutes, we're gonna have to let someone stop and pass it on. But if they rocking, we're gonna let you roll. So let's just start with this. Cap, if you don't mind, you have spoken the truth. And right now we're in a room with all melanated people, Black brothers and sisters in here. Right. So we have an audience. And I want you to start as far as with the conversation. When you mention the truth, what is the truth that we should be seeking? What is the truth that we should be holding? And what is the truth that, we might have gotten away from as far as our Black brothers and sisters?
Yeah, first and foremost is our identity. Without our identity, you're nothing. When people say, you ever heard the term, people say Black people don't have no culture? And then Black people will say, yes, I have culture. And then when you ask them, what is that Black culture? You don't get an answer that's culture. You get something that's drawn from slavery, something that's drawn off of some tradition. But what was your tradition before slavery? It's almost like we don't have that history. So once we can identify who we are, that is the starting point for what your culture, your identity, your code of ethics, your laws. That's the truth. So what we did in ISUBK was say, well, who are we? We find out that we're the Israelites. And it just so happens that book is readily available because it's already in our house. But we've been reading it with the white man's eyes instead of our eyes. So when we go into that book and we identify that we're the children of Israel, that instantly tells us who to love, which is our brothers, who to forgive, which is our brothers. It instantly tells us who to hate and that we actually can hate our enemies. Why is that important? Because we'll spend all day, people will fight me and say the white man is not our enemy, but in our neighborhood, our enemy, we fight him every day, and that's our brother. We almost reverse because we follow the white man's culture. When you follow the white man's culture, your brother is instantly your enemy. When you follow the Bible and our culture, your brother is your brother and the white man is instantly your enemy. If we can just start there, we will be free of everything. Everything about concerning what America is doing would not be our business. It would be our business to make sure we straight. Everybody going crazy because the stamps is going away on November 1st. But if we was about our people, we wouldn't care that white people are about to kill themselves. They going to be suicidal. The propaganda is that we're going to lose our minds when we've been poor since we've been in America. Poor is nothing new for us. We'll survive. White people will not survive because they will kill themselves because for so long, they've been able to live off of us. And now when they lose that support, they won't know how to deal with it. Whereas we will. But we so concerned with we're going to blame the Black woman, say we're going to laugh at the Black woman for losing food stamps. Now realizing when she lose food stamps, who does that put pressure on? The Black men that didn't have to provide food for them kids. Now you got to provide food for them kids, unless you're telling me the kids are going to starve. Really? So instead of looking at it like we should laugh at the Black woman in her pain, we should further look at trusting in the white man will always be our downfall. Now, what have we been doing? We've been feeding since 1969. I saw this pastor do some because of the stoppage of food, every Sunday they're gonna start giving out food. Whereas the pastor been making billions of dollars a year, and he just now, because the white man ain't gonna feed you, now he wants to feed you.
He can't go out on the pastor.
But why didn't he feed them before this? And what he's saying is, if the white man feeds you again, you know what that means? I'm gonna stop giving food on Sundays. But we giving food all the time. We got farms all the time. Like in Houston and here, we got farms all the time. So when you get in here into this truth, you will learn how to be a brother. You will learn how to be a sister. That's what you would learn.
And I want everybody to answer this one. What is the difference between white man Jesus and a black man's Jesus?
The white man Jesus will enslave you and tell you that he loves you at the same time. The name of the boats was named after that white man Jesus. That image, just think about that image. That image, don't he look like don't he look soft?
He don't look as masculine.
He don't look masculine at all, but he enslaved a continent of people. And then when you go to fight back, you know why you stop? Because when you say, now I lay me down to sleep, you think of that image. And so now you can't even fight it. So now, the image of a black Jesus, first of all, the minute that you say you got a black Jesus, you know what that does psychologically? There's a picture in DC Comics. They got this little black kid staring up at a white Superman because a black kid don't have a superhero to look up to. For the white man, that Caesar Borgia, who that is, that's their superhero. With that, they go kill, rape, and pillage. Who's our superhero? You don't have one. When we tell the truth of that Bible, because if Jesus looked like that image, then that would just be the white Jesus that it is. But remember, the truth shall make you free. So if we go read that Bible and he got an afro like we have, he has black skin like we have, he has a beard and hair like we have. Now we got our first real life superhero.
Just to see
these a real life superhero that put his life on the line for his brothers that we refuse to do, that will free us, that we refuse to do. So the difference is the black Jesus is the truth. The white Jesus is the lie.
I like that. Bishop, you got something on that as far as difference between the white Jesus and the bearded black Jesus?
Well, first of all, I'm going to speak on a little bit that he said, because when y'all talking about a Jesus that's black, he said wood hair. So I haven't read about the black Jesus in the Bible. Y'all confused me. Y'all got to show me where that at. I thought it was symbolic. I thought the hair
just signed
stand
my
for
first
wood
settlement.
and wisdom.
Okay,
I never seen a black
check
man
you out.
with fire eyes. I ain't seen him yet.
Look
If
at
that's
you.
symbolic, then if he's black, then we're a black man with eyes like fire. I haven't seen
Congratulations,
that yet.
man.
So
I
when
just
you
signed my
use
first
the
one.
skin, brass,
Hey, what
all
do
that's
it feel like?
symbolic. That's why I call it the book of
Shit, that's the
Revelation.
question.
It's not
What do it feel
necessarily
like?
talking about a natural thing. It's talking about a spiritual understanding. So if you take those things and you look at the natural of it, then you can confuse. Now let's talk about this white man, this blue-eyed devil. Okay, we understand for the simple fact that always been a deceiver. This ain't just came up in 2025. They've been deceiving people from day one. But what we got to understand, the trick of the enemy is very smart. If I can give you the concept that the white man is superior over you, then I have the ability to control you. The Santa Claus is white. If you look in that white book, it's white. Bible. The pictures in it is white. People in it. So the Bible said, make no image of anything above or underneath. So if we are true followers of Christ, who gave us authority to make an image, what do image does?
That's what
if
I'm
I
talking about.
uplift a black man, a black Jesus, if I uplift a white Jesus, I'm in the same boat. Why? Because what I'm doing now,
I thought they
I'm
supposed
trying
to
to
be
get you to
battling.
believe that my skin get me in. I'm trying to get
Adam
chapter
was-
2.
Driving is what drives
I
me.
want to see the battle.
The road,
Like
it's
this.
always felt-
They battling
That
right
was
here.
her. When the woman came from the wheel or whatever, this
the woman
was the
was
natural.
alive already too.
Okay, so it takes something that is already formed. That means that it's already. You understand? The captain. Hold up.
We're not gonna attack dude.
Oh.
My partner, my street bishop, and they finna go in. So This is Dooley the Priest, and I'm gonna sign out for a
She
minute.
said,
And
I
y'all,
have 3 lawsuits open.
All right, I like that.
Can I say something?
oh man, no,
Okay.
come at me.
I'm gonna let him
Yeah,
talk.
check you out.
Hold on.
That's
Yo,
what's
Captain,
up, though.
I'm gonna
Don't
say
pay.
something.
Yeah, check you out. I'm about to pay them bills up and shit.
We're trying to get
Don't
some
handle your
spiritual
business,
knowledge.
man.
And please stop saying, I don't think that's your dad. I think that's your stepdaddy, because he ain't whoop your nut. Because you
Goddamn.
sound ignorant, what you just said. Look what he just said
Goddamn.
in front of all these people. If that is your daddy, you need to find your dad. I need to be your daddy, because you ain't got no sense. Hold on.
I saved my teacher.
Your teacher, whatever
Why you
call
getting
it.
on the words?
Okay, but listen, well, however, let me say
I hold
this.
on my
I'm glad he cleared
Okay,
that.
listen. Yeah, you a real man. I'm glad I corrected.
Thank you, man.
Because
He be what he be doing. He like to pull up, he like to come at me.
Well, listen,
That was some bullshit. Oh, excuse my love.
Okay,
Some bullshit.
I'm trying to act.
You talking about
I'm trying to act
you
like.
talking about the foul language?
That's not the foul language, because language is the term.
Yeah,
It's just something he said. I know you ain't taught him none of that.
Hey,
I done
Scott,
watched some
what's the
videos.
deal,
So
bro?
I know about the friends.
What
What is
I'm trying to see the battle, bro. These boys
You
supposed to be
said,
battling and shit. I'm trying to see the
We're
battle.
not gonna
man.
attack dude.
Okay,
We're not gonna make it about that. We look, because we love
That's the
everybody
only
on the
reason
platform.
I'm
We love
here.
everybody.
Yeah, you know, I understand both of them. I understand the Israelite shit. You know, a nigga know the Bible. It's really
I
the
don't want to
same
get too off
shit.
topic.
They just worded a little different. You know what I'm saying? The Israelites push their line a little different.
with his language. He confused with his clothes.
I know, so let go. He want to come at me.
You weren't talking about your teacher.
Yeah.
Thank you,
sir.
Thank you, Lord.
Man, it's crazy.
What you said was
That's a better Vontae.
I like that. Which
You know
one?
what I'm saying?
said
Trust and
Christ
believe.
don't have a color.
I
of hair
watched
as
your
wisdom. You can see
content
the description of
the
Christ
other
in the
night,
Old
so
and New
I
Testament.
understand why
Daniel
you
10,
don't like
5 and 6.
religion.
It describes in the
I
same
say, you know
exact
what? I'm
way
gonna have to
as
play this for
Revelations,
the
the
people
first
real
chapter.
quick
In
so they can
both
see how
times,
fucked the
it's a
people
man seeing the
so they
image
can
of the
see how
Son of
fucked
Man
up the
and then
people is in the
describing what he
church
looks
house,
like.
though. 'Cause
The
you
word
know, it is
nigga is in the
fucked up
Bible. Acts
people in the
13 and
church
1,
house,
which
though.
just means black. So the importance of that, even when you talk about being
You know what I'm
superior,
telling you? So,
what is
yeah,
the
I
reason why
trust
you
and
have a
believe, I
problem with being
understand.
superior is because black men don't know what it means
I'm
to
one
be
of the fucked
superior
up
because
people
we've been
because you know
taught
what I'm
to be
saying? Shit,
inferior
nigga,
since
I
we've been in
leave
America.
church and
So the
go back
minute
to selling dope.
or a black man
You know
comes
what I'm
and
telling
say
you?
we should be in power or we should have this
I
power,
leave
it's a
church
brother
and be
saying,
right
nah,
back to
it ain't
selling
about
dope
having the power
and
because
doing
God ain't like
everything
that.
that I was
That's a
doing
lie.
wrong before
When
I
God
came.
says,
You know what I'm telling you?
Jacob
So
have I loved,
everybody in the
Esau have I
church ain't
hated.
right.
Do you know what the very next thing the verse says?
What is that?
Do you know?
I'm asking you.
But I'm just asking if
I
you
don't
know.
know. I don't.
You know what it says?
What is that?
What shall we say then? Is there unrighteousness with God?
Mhm.
That's you.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're saying the hate ain't like a man's hate. His hate is worse than our hate.
You think
Because
so?
it says, for this same purpose have I raised Pharaoh up. What did he do to Pharaoh?
You put a heart in his heart.
What else did he do to Pharaoh?
I thought he killed.
What? And not just him. He killed the firstborn of everything that
Okay.
belonged to all of Egypt. That's his hate. Is our hate to go out and kill white people?
Hold up. Let me
Answer the question.
No. Let me
Just
say
answer the question.
Answer what's the question? Okay, what's the
It's
question?
our hate to go out and kill white people.
It's wrong.
No, listen to the question. Is our hate, meaning my organization, is our hate to go kill white people?
I hope you don't. You confused.
It's not.
Okay.
Is God hate going to kill white people?
Oh, so you saying since
Answer
God
the
killed
question.
him? Hold on, you said since God killed him, you got
God didn't kill him yet.
Who
I'm
killed him?
asking you, is God's hate going to kill the white man?
I don't think so.
That's a lie.
Okay.
Why does
prove
he
it.
say for this same purpose? In
Mhm.
Romans the 9th chapter, when he says, for this same purpose have I raised Pharaoh up.
Mhm.
So he raised Pharaoh up to kill him.
Okay.
So he's raising the white man up to do what?
Yeah, I'm listening.
To kill him.
Okay.
That's what the Bible say, right?
Okay.
Is that what the Bible
Don't
say?
be like Lil William. I don't recall. He going.
Yeah.
I thought this was a Bible stuff. Like,
Captain, why do you think we find it as black people so hard to?
Yeah, Captain think a nigga supposed to be up here to agreeing with him, nigga, just because you done read that motherfucking Hebrew Bible. I got that motherfucker downstairs too, though. But yeah, I want to see if Captain gonna be getting crunk, because, you know, I've been fucking with this nigga since I had my first channel on YouTube. So I just want to see if the nigga gonna get crunk like he be doing on this channel. He be handling the shit out the motherfuckers. So I was like, okay, he supposed to be up in here with one of these niggas from Dallas that supposed to have them hands. So let's see if that nigga gonna be getting crunk and talking to niggas crazy like he be talking to everybody else.
Identify with that these people are our enemy and they should be killed.
Stockholm syndrome.
Oh shit.
You know the crazy Stockholm comes from some white broad in Germany. In Stockholm, where there was some robbery or something like that, and they captured her, kidnapped her, and then they had her so long that she started thinking she was one of them. And that's us, where we done been in this captivity. The white man has spoon-fed us, and Lamentations 4 says we go for him for our bread, our water, and our want of life. We look at him with failed eyes for help. That's us. And we're afraid of what life is like free. Like, really? Y'all are black men? We are afraid to be free.
What they got to do with the book?
It has everything to do with what did Christ say? Ye shall know the truth,
And the
truth shall make you free.
Okay.
The freedom is understanding the white man is the devil. The white man is your enemy. The minute you do that, you'll stop loving what he loves and hate what he hates. You know who the white man hates?
I don't know.
He hates us.
Okay, let's get
He
this.
hates us so much, he makes sure we get flooded with drugs. Make sure we get to Planned Parenthood. Make sure our fathers was put out woman in a survival state. That's him tactfully doing that.
I think you should deal with politics. You
What?
better.
Nah, this is politics right now. But a nigga that say he know the Bible. Oh, good.
Okay, watch it. Let me tell you something. Yeah. You tell my white man hate. You give white men too much power. You done made them God.
What power?
Okay, watch it.
Let me say your response. What power did I give him?
You talking about what he done and what he do.
That's telling what he did. That's not giving him power.
Okay. Whatever he done, people doing all kinds of stuff. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
When you talking about God, when God say he loved Esau and he hate Jacob, that word, when you dealing with God, he's not under no rules. He's not under no authority. Everything belongs to God. God can do whatever he wants to do. When he used those words, he identified to us. God talked to our language. We can't understand a bird because I'm not a bird. So he speak in words where we can relate to how he wants us to approach life. He doesn't have attributes of man. So when you talk about God hate, God don't have feelings. He don't change. He don't have a bad
God
day.
don't get angry?
Oh, no, brother. You misinterpret.
God don't get...
No.
Captain,
Let me finish.
Wait, he don't
God,
get angry?
No,
He
you
don't
misinterpret. Let me tell you what you did.
Oh, yeah, good.
God don't get angry. I thought that too. That's in the natural. Watch this. God don't have days where he have a bad attitude.
We're not talking about that.
Okay, I'm talking about the creator. But when he used that language, do you remember when Moses went before God and he went to try to counsel with God? He said, you done brought them out of Egypt and you let them die in the wilderness, such and such. Man can't counsel with God. God is showing us a revelation how Christ is going to be the mediator between us. Everything that's written in the Bible, the people.
What people?
You say Israelite, I don't want to go there yet, but watch this. But when God speaks to us,
right,
he speaks to us what we can understand. A natural man going to take the Bible, the word, the letter kill, but the spirit give life. So when
life
you read into it, watch this. When you read into it, you're reading from a natural perspective.
No, I'm not.
So I'm gonna tell you why.
Okay, tell me
because
why.
You haven't overcome the flesh. You don't even know the first man that was created.
What was the first man created?
What color was it?
What was the first? I asked my question first. What was the first man created?
I'll tell you.
Who?
What color was it first?
No.
Adam was the first man created.
No, he was not.
No, he wasn't.
Okay.
What was the first man created? What color was it?
Mankind as a whole,
what color
was created? There was no one man created.
I don't. What color was it?
You ain't know that. You just
okay. What color was it?
He was melanated. He would be like the colloquial term of black that we ascribe to us today is because of slavery. Back then they would have just what we would call melanated or men of color is all.
That's the first man that was created. Mankind.
Right.
Okay. Before mankind. Hold on. Let me say it because I don't want them to twist it. Mankind, when you use the word mankind, are you talking about a natural man or a spiritual man?
Talk about natural man. On Genesis, the first chapter, on the 6th day, mankind, male and female, was created then.
Okay.
A spiritual man wasn't birthed until Genesis, the 2nd chapter, when Adam, who was already living, was given the breath of life.
Oh no, you twist it. No, let me tell you what, I'll prove it to you. In chapter 126.
You a bishop?
Okay, listen. Okay, I don't care what you call it. Just call me a servant. Watch this. In Genesis 1:26, it said, God said, let us make man in our image and our likeness. God is not physical. So anything that is spiritual, we know the Bible said God is spirit. Those who worship him, let me finish. God is spirit. Those that worship him must worship in spirit and truth. We knew when God created man, we knew he wasn't dealing with the color or natural man, because God is not natural. So that don't make sense. But in Genesis chapter 2, it said God formed man. Anything that is formed came from something that's already created. But anything that's created came from nothing. So in Genesis 1, he said he made male and female.
Right.
He made the spirit man first. Then the Adam took place in the natural man, and when he was in chapter 2.
Spiritual.
Adam was here. When the woman came from the wheel or whatever.
Alive already too.
Okay, so it takes something that is already formed. That means that it's already created. So when it say, when God said, let us form man, watch this. He said, let us form man, he went from chapter 2. So man was already created in the spirit. That's why he said he made male and female. Hold on, let me finish.
Okay.
He made male and female. He wasn't no people. You are created in the spirit first. That's why when you die, you go back to who you was from day one. You was created in God's likeness in his image. You telling me God's image is natural? I don't care if you call him black. I don't care if you call him white, blue, or green. God has no color. So therefore, when he said, let us make man in our image and likeness, he was making the spirit man. In chapter 2, he formed the man. If you can show me something different, let's talk about it.
I got you. So first I want to say the term white that we use today for the white man is what he created. So I'm not talking about skin tone. I don't care about skin tone.
Okay.
Like whether you could be like, I always use this example. Bob Marley is a white man to us because he has a white father. So it ain't about your skin complexion.
Okay.
They call themselves white. That's why we use the term white.
I like that.
Now, this is where I free everybody's mind. In Genesis, the first chapter, when he says, let us make man in our image, what separates man from beast is our brain, our ability to think. That's what mankind was born with on the 6th day. A day unto the Lord is as 1,000 years. So when mankind was created in the womb, for 1,000 years, they're living, reproducing, subduing the whole earth. Two people can't do that. In Genesis, the 2nd chapter, it didn't say he formed man from the ground. He said he formed him from the dust of the ground. The dust of the ground, this is the ground.
That's right.
The dust is right above the ground, right? That means you're in a low state. That's the metaphor for it. The breath of life is when you receive his laws. So now you receive the instructions on how to live. You know that from the sacrifices. Even I ask you a question. This ain't a trick question.
I don't care.
In the flood, how many animals went in the ark?
I thought it was 2 apiece. I don't know.
That's what there. Right. No, when you say that's not, that's not the book say. No, the book don't say that either. The book say 7 of every clean animal, 2 of every unclean animal, which means they had a concept of the law of what animals you can eat and what animals you cannot eat before Moses delivered the letter of the law. That's all contained in the breath of life. You can see that in Ezekiel. When he preached to the valley of the dry bones, what did he do? He breathed into them the breath of life, which is the law. The one thing that every Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian need is the law. So when you try to say that the physical is Genesis, the spiritual is Genesis, the first chapter, it's not.
Why not?
The spiritual, Adam is the only one that received that instruction on how to live. That's why he was the first line that was called the sons of God. The daughters of men.
But you said Genesis 1:26 is a natural man?
Yeah. Genesis,
so God is natural?
Why? In Genesis, the first chapter. This is what I'm saying. I'm going. In Genesis, the first chapter, that's not the Most High. In Genesis, the first chapter, you don't see the Most High until Genesis, the 2nd chapter. In Genesis, the first chapter, that word God is going to translate to either Elohim or Elohim, which means angel, messenger. So when it says let us, that's Christ and the angels doing the work. In Genesis, the 2nd chapter is when you see Lord God. Now you get Yahweh, Elohim. That's when you get that
Show
term.
me where in the Bible where an angel create anything.
Christ created.
So you just said angel. You said angel.
I said,
Christ.
but I said it in reverse.
Okay.
I said Christ and the angels.
What they do?
That's the us.
He was talking to them.
Yes, they
who
all.
Who was talking to them when you said, "Let us make man in our image"?
That's them. That's like how we're talking right now. And
Yeah, them boys on some bullshit. Them boys on some bullshit. I'm too old to be falling for another nigga teaching. I bullshit you not.
Granger knows that if you're a lineman in charge of keeping the lights on, you go to great lengths and sometimes heights.
Have been around. She said Suge will always
bullying right now.
No, did you not be inside?
I think you can you call the police?
Yeah, call the police. Call them now. Even though I can press charges for what you did to me.
You see that?
Did you try to blackball me?
I think you're mentally ill.
You fucking bully. Did you? Did you? You fucking bully.
Did you just throw something at me?
Did you fucking bully?
Did you see that?
Nigga, if I have my burger, I'll blow your bitch ass back. Did you almost make me lose my fucking baby? Did you put your hands on me?
So there was a young lady, goes by the name SKG, which originally stood for Suge Knight's Girl. She was signed to Death Row Records as a rapper 20 plus years ago. She left because she got pregnant and Suge didn't like it, but there's a bunch of other drama. She's been doing interviews on Tasha K. She just did one, Adam 22. Go watch them. They're good. But what can we learn from this Big U indictment? Because I'm always looking for teaching moments. What can you take out of this? Well, it's to not play both sides of the fence. Meaning what? Meaning either you're in the underworld, you're a criminal, you're a gang member, you're a tough guy, you don't obey the law, you don't go to the police, or you're regular. But a lot of people who you're from a certain neighborhood, or you got a relative, or when it's convenient, you break the law, but then other times you call the police. And I was listening to her story. Now, she starts off and she tells you, I don't think she said was a rolling 60, but she's from that area and she has relatives that were in it. And she starts off telling you, I'm from one of those families. My uncles are known killers, and they would go out of town and hit licks for 100,000, and they were doing this and that. So she says that, okay. And so she said her experience, and back when she was with Death Row, those guys would have been around. She said Suge always treated her fine, other than when he finally ended their business arrangement. But that's not really mistreating somebody. She's talking and talking about the things Big U. I mentioned in the story before, she felt Nipsey called her up to a store. Big U locked the door behind her, beat her up. She was pregnant. They had footage in the beginning that was from just like a year ago where she was in a hotel lobby and Big U was there and she just went off, started throwing stuff at him. She claims she was getting phone calls that Big U had put a hit out on her, like recently, like after that incident. And she had fallen out with Nipsey for a long time, of course, because if you feel someone called you to set you up to get beat up. But Nipsey always maintained to her he didn't know Big U was going to do that. And they ended up getting back cool. But whether you knew someone was going to jump me at your store or not, I'm holding you responsible. When that guy gets done beating me up, like you should be, hey, Al, I didn't know that was going to happen. We can go shoot him right now or whatever, or to the police or whatever it is you're going to do. But you need to be, it's kill or tell. You do something. Don't just accept being a victim. So she's someone that was starting different entities that would work, and to use our terms, with the white people to do fundraising. So she had this thing with Big U where she brought Big U in So what led to her being beat up was she brought Big U into this thing where she had Albertsons, which is a big supermarket chain here, going to give money. So she brings Big U in. Now, if you were in the mix of all of that, of you're from the roll of that area, you're around Suge, you're in that, you would know how Big U was getting down. So why would you bring him in? Because Adam asked her in the end of the interview, did you know about the check-in stuff? Well, yeah, but not to the extent. Well, she knew who Big U was, so she brings him into the deal. He, as it seems like his personality, wants to take charge of it more so. He goes into a meeting that she's having with the corporate people at the radio station and, you know, embarrasses her. They have an argument that leads to her being beat up. When her and Nipsey reconciled not long before Nipsey was killed, and again, how do you reconcile with somebody who lets you get beat up pregnant? She tells him, you better move from around the store. Get to stay. These people around here, they don't respect you. They're going to kill you. They're talking about robbing you to my other rolling 60s. And of course, that's what happened. And Adam 22 mentioned that he's been being sent videos. I guess he hasn't published them. He's been being sent videos of Big U and Eric Holder together, like during some fight or jumping on somebody. He was sort of briefly described it, but he received videos from people proving Eric Holder and Big U were around each other and, you know, leading up to Nipsey's demise, which Eric with Big U, you know, acts like he don't really, you know, that he didn't have anything to do with Eric Holder. So that may come out too. If there's videos of them two together, the police are seeing them. I think that a lot of people are using these social media. They don't want to feel like they're snitching, but they you know, they feel people have done wrong stuff. I think the tables turned against Big U in the streets with the murder alleged. Well, the kid was murdered. Whether Big U did it or not is up for debate. But it seems like everybody turned against him. They wanted him gone. Like he went too far. Now, this young lady, SKG, who says her uncles were killers and all this from the roll of 60s, well, she wasn't just whistling Dixie. A crime, her uncle's convicted of a crime worse than anything in a Big U indictment. By far. Like one of the most awful crimes. And I guess she said her uncles were that she's from their rolling 60s community. I guess they would have been rolling 60s. I'm not sure. Maybe though. And of course, the reason the rolling 60s are nationally they were the first gang that people probably outside of LA heard about because they made the national news for a couple incidents, one of which was the Little Fee murder where 3 or 4 members of Rolling 60s, after a night of cocaine usage, went to carry out a $60,000 contract hit on a girl in a wheelchair. She was put into a wheelchair. She was shot at a bar owned by some black gangster guy, and he didn't have insurance. So the girl's in a wheelchair. She's suing the bar because she was shot by just some random patron at a shooting. And that's why bars are supposed to have insurance for things happen in bars. People get hurt. So instead of him getting sued, he hired these guys. They go to kill the girl in the wheelchair. They read the address wrong, and they go in and kill the family of NFL football player Kermit Washington, including like 3 juveniles. So they're going to kill a 21-year-old girl in a wheelchair whose only offense was she wanted to be, medical expenses to be paid. And they killed they killed children, and there wasn't even the right house. So a very frightening reputation in the 60s, or at least some of them developed even, by the mid 80s. And of course, this is the branding that someone like Nipsey Hussle used to promote him. I mean, he didn't make any secret about it and said he was active, and he used that as part of his branding. So I can definitely, just seeing things from everybody's perspective, if I was one of the old school bad guys who did, things that made the Rolling 60s name have this brand name of fear and terror and respect in the streets of LA and nationally, I might. And then here comes these new rappers that whatever they do, they're not the ones that made the Rolling 60s famous. Nipsey Hussle isn't the reason people are scared of the Rolling 60s. So why shouldn't they want some money from him? But that's another topic. But so this, like I said, the worst crime was committed by this SKG's uncle. Here it is.
Manipulator. Wallace once was a lawyer, reportedly representing Magic Johnson and rapper Dr. Dre. But in 2001, trouble. She was convicted of defrauding
Big
18-year-old
A,
John
what's
Trey
the deal,
Birdsong
boy?
and his brother,
What's going
20-year-old
down,
Howard.
man?
They were murdered in this Inglewood home by a gunman posing as the mailman.
A guy came to the door dressed as a postman. He got his way into the house, got the two boys that lived in the house, and the two guys are in there dead.
Timothy Mack is now serving 3 life terms for masterminding the killings. He and Wallace had been after $380,000 the brothers had received as an insurance payout after their mother, an LAPD police officer, died of cancer. Wallace was sent to prison for forging the brothers' signatures and spending the money on herself until they complained.
They were owed the money when they were defrauded of that, and then they were murdered.
So to recap, the uncle, so this crooked lawyer, a LA police officer, black female police officer, died of brain cancer. She had 2 teenage sons. The lawyer that went to probate and handled the insurance payout and got the money for the sons stole it. Her and this uncle of SKG, they were just stealing the money. And one of them went, what's a lawyer? And she ain't there's a worse case in LA of this white lawyer that was stealing tens of millions from the families of like plane crash victims. But I keep meaning to do a story on that, but I forget. I'll do one on him. But so this lawyer, she's stealing the money from these kids, and they make a complaint to the police. And so SKG's uncle has this other guy, Wayman Jackson, knock on the door, posing as a mailman, and executes like I think one was 18, one was 20. All because they just wanted their mother's insurance. I mean, this is one of the most horrible, like, your mother died of brain cancer. Your mother was not a lowlife, was a police officer. She's an upstanding citizen. She left provisions for her 2 sons, and this lawyer steals it, and then she gets this guy who, I don't know, was he Rolling 60 Crip or whatever he was, SKG's uncle. He has this guy, Wayman Jackson, do the murders. Now, it says in one of the articles, Wayman Jackson at the time was dating one of SKG's uncle's nieces. Was that SKG? I don't know. Maybe I'll get a chance to interview her. I don't know if she wants to go into this too much, but I don't know. But so fast forward to SKG bringing Big U into her business. All the people in the Big U's indictment, all the rappers they are alleged to extort, it's just like with the Italian mafia. You put yourself in a position to be victimized by like these rappers. I mean, you could come to LA and just hire an off-duty police officer, but that would mess their image up.
Yeah, this shit right here
They're
crazy,
supposed
man.
to be street, but they're not necessarily. So they don't even know that the people they tapping in with are running a play out. So how street are you? So if you want to ride around and look tough with jewelry on and act like you the dope man from the 80s, well, you're going to get treated like that. They don't, people that just conduct themselves normally sometimes get robbed and are victimized too, but much less so. Even the NBA players who getting tricked at the dice game. Why are you shooting dice in a hotel room with a washed up boxer? You can watch my Adrian Bronner Big U story about that. So they're putting themselves in that case. So SKG seems like a victim, you know, but what were you bringing Big U into your deals for? You had to know how he was getting down. You knew these guys were active gang members at the least. So you were getting some benefit out of it. Was it that, you know, you could walk into these meetings with someone who was intimidating and it helped, you know, because I was taken around to big meetings with bigger people, like at big agencies and stuff, by someone who, when he would come in, they acted like they saw a ghost, and they did what he said so and came to his house to meet with us. This was before pandemic. Pandemic sidetracked everything. So, but he's a helpful, nice guy and does real business. He's not a Big U, but why was she using Big U and stuff? And it just is a deeper question. I ain't trying to go after her because she's suffered a lot. Like, I mean, she's been putting a hex on her name in the street for the last 10 years. So hopefully her problems are done now that you is locked up, but you can't dabble with the evil people at all. When you try to use, I'm gonna just get these guys to intimidate this one, or I'm gonna have him beat this guy up, but I'm a law-abiding citizen. No. As soon as you know, if I were to lure somebody somewhere so that someone could, okay, he's leaving, you can take his chain. Well, now even the people that did that with me are gonna think like, okay, well, Al's shady, he's a low life too. So if one day down the road my name comes across the desk of, well, let's get Al, no one's gonna say, nah, not him. He don't do nothing. Like, not, he's cool. He doesn't do anything inappropriate. But when you do shady stuff, or you dabble in it, or you try to use the intimidation factor of somebody for your own manipulative purposes, you enter into their world. You're a rapper that wants to seem tough. You're an athlete. Steven Jackson want to go to O Block and all this. Like, what are you doing all this for? You're now engaging with a set of people that you might think you're like them because you think you look like them, but they're living a different life. You make millions of dollars paid by the white corporations. Your life is not anything like what someone that's still in one of these neighborhoods and trying to get it any way they can. So stay in your lane. And if you seek the excitement of hanging with dangerous people, you're going to get some danger put in your life. And Big U was big danger for some of these people that wanted to dabble. And so I thought that was interesting. But her interviews are very good. So go watch SKG's interviews on No Jumper and Tasha K. And hopefully her stress level is down now that Big U is gone. But you can't even a little bit dabble with certain stuff because you open yourself up. You know, it's like, you know, you can't go hang out at the crack house and then act funny because someone passes you the pipe. Oh, I'm just here to watch. What do you mean you're just here to watch? Or I'm just stopping by because it's Friday night and I want to see the crackheads have a fight. I'm that crazy. There's people who do that. I grew up, my apartment was right next to a liquor store, and it would be crazy stuff, like just wild on the corner. And people would come over my house. And I was like 18 or 19. It was like some of my black middle class friends would come over just to sit on the porch and see like crazy violence and all type of stuff. They were safe because they were on my porch. It's kind of messed up, but this is what people are doing and watching shit on social media. People getting assaulted and gossiping about this and that and putting up videos of people assaulting each other. My porch was World Star Hip Hop. So go watch SKG's interviews. Big U's extortion tactics aren't even that bad compared to what her own uncle did. Triple, and then he had another guy killed that was some type of gang rival. So he has 3 life sentences for murder. Just last year, they denied his resentencing. So he ain't getting out. And Little Fee and the other guy, CW or whatever from Rolling 60's, who convicted in the Kermit Alexander family murders, they're not getting out. Been in prison since like 84. Some dangerous people out here on the mean streets of the big city. And if you're not, you can't just dabble and play with them. If you're not one of them or you're not wanting to be in that world, keep it to high and by. Or whatever, you do regular stuff, eat some wings, watch the game, crack a few jokes with them. Keep it wholesome. As soon as you start playing on the other side of the fence, because there is no both sides of the fence.
The reason Riverside is the place you want is it is a one-stop shop for people who do not know how to edit. So you can go in.
Okay, more on the Big U case. Of course, the most serious charge against him is taking the life of a young man out in Vegas, Rashawn R.W. I think that Big U's big problem may come down to Big Pimpin' Jamal Rashid, a.k.a. Molly Mall. Now, this may not be a part of the case. He's not in the indictment, but he's at the edge of it. So he's one of the people, when there was that footage of Loose Cannon beating up a producer for not paying, that was Molly Mall. And if you read the indictment, and there's all that stuff about the studio in Vegas and letting him use time and all that, it doesn't say it, and no one's saying it, but if you read between the lines. And then I did find there's all these Big U's court, USA versus Henley court docket is full now. There's a lot of stuff in there. Motion to suppress wiretaps. So a lot of information had to come out. And one of the phones, and it redacts one of his names, but you see one of the other names. So that's definitely his studio that the murder would have happened at. And who else would clean up behind Big U? Jamal Rashid is somebody he's been, you could call extorting, but they've had a symbiotic relationship. Remember, when you got the muscle, that's part of Jamal Rashid extorting others. And then you just got to break off to the big dog, because Molly Mall has been presented as used to be kind of during the golden age of pop rap, the Ja Rule 56, I don't know, maybe like 06 to 2014 or something. He was pretty big. I think he produced Justin Bieber song, like a lot of big stuff. But of course, it was just him putting his name on other people's stuff. And Big U would get free studio time. And again, here's a clip of Loose Cannon jumping on Molly Mall on Sunset Boulevard. This was right before the indictment.
What is wrong with you? What the fuck is wrong with you, yo?
I always tell you, when you're doing stuff, if the people around you, if there's leverage that can be applied to them, like when do people tell? People don't really want to tell just to be, especially if someone's already sort of in the criminal underworld or they have a high profile. Even regular people don't really like to go down to the court, just not because of no snitching. It's just you're exposing yourself. You're causing problems for criminals. Police put pressure on people, drug addicts, Detroit police was infamous for, oh, you're a drug addict, you saw a murder. Well, we're going to snatch you up and just kind of hold you on these whole ass or low felony drug possession charges for months until the trial comes, but they would secretly be bringing them D-rugs to keep them there. But that's another story. So who is Jamal Rashid, aka Molly Mal? He was he was on a reality TV show, and he was kind of a big deal, but then his career became only overshadowed, to say the least, by a huge federal criminal case involving a long-running prostitution ring in Las Vegas. Isn't prostitution legal there, Al? Well, no, it's legal in other parts of the state of Nevada. It's not legal in the city of Las Vegas, and that's, of course, why you have trafficking cases and etc. And Jamal Rashid's case, this is where, you know, Big U, Jamal Rashid, they're playing in the big leagues with celebrities, with rich people, with the police. Because once you start doing big stuff, when I say Big U is playing with the police, I mean, I'm not saying he's an informant, but who knows what anybody does. But getting money from the government over here and then being a gangster over there, you're playing with the police. The system is part of your overall hustle. So to be really a real gangster, I always say you have to be doing something with the police or the government, not necessarily snitching, but like their part, because the government is a big part of the economy. You can't, if you ain't touching the government, you ain't touching no real money. So over the span of a decade, Rashid orchestrated an illicit business that operated behind thin veneer of legitimate escort services, and he got mixed up in human trafficking, exploitation, and exotic animal smuggling.
The I-Team has learned a little bit more about why there's been a delay. Jamal Rashid, also known as Molly Mal, admitted he was a pimp in Las Vegas. He faced federal charges and pled guilty to use of an interstate facility in aid of unlawful activity.
His production,
I seen Lil King talking shit about him too.
Bone Thugs and Harmony, Usher, Tiger, Drake. That's right. He had a Drake song. Snoop Dogg and Justin Bieber. He had a huge mansion in Vegas. But again, he was a guy that was meeting a lot of these people as part of the Vegas lifestyle. And he was providing some of them with things, including girls. In fact, it was such a big operation. So he was on Love and Hip Hop. He flaunted his mansion, his luxury vehicles, exotic animals. Some of them were illegal. His exotic animal thing made international headlines when he gave Justin Bieber a capuchin monkey named OG Molly, which was later confiscated by German customs authority. Now, who is Molly Mal? Brazilian of Lebanese descent. Looks like he takes steroids. Egyptian. He calls himself the Egyptian god of music. So he's Egyptian, of Egyptian ethnicity, but I think grew up in Brazil.
Yeah, I dropped the song.
His Egyptian god of music name masked a dark and highly organized criminal enterprise. Court records and plea agreements reveal that roughly from April 2002 to September 2014. So how do you run a big, wide open, everyone kind of sees it, high-end pro ring in Vegas where they have a big vice squad? And the thing about Vegas, it's Sin City on the one hand, but on the other hand, you know, it's a place families come. They can never let it get too seedy and out of control. And the legal brothels are out in Clark County away from the city, or they may be in a different county. I'm not sure. But Vegas prostitution is not legal in the city of Vegas. So he owned something called Las Vegas Escorts. He even had something called Molly Mal and Platinum, which were reported to be legal escort agencies. And he raked in a lot of money. He used Backpage when that was open, Eros, hundreds and hundreds, maybe up to 1,000 women. The operation was meticulously controlled and often brutal. This is from the federal indictment. Rashid categorized the women under his control into two distinct tiers: independents and priority girls. The independents, those were women he would call and send and split the play with them. The priority girls was more like some pimping. They might live in a mansion with them and give up all the money. The methods Rashid employed to maintain control over these women mirrored the psychological and physical tactics of a highly coercive PIMP. Women working for him were subject to intense surveillance, GPS trackers, hidden cameras installed in their own condominiums if he got them their own place. They had to ask permission to see a gynecologist. Rashid's control extended to the typical psychological manipulation, making them get tattoos of him or his brand on them, signifying ownership, something that goes on in that world a lot. According to testimony in court documents and surveillance, he routinely threatened them, and he used actual physical violence. And one particularly chilling detail presented during his sentencing, the court noted Rashid strictly prohibited women from speaking to black or high chance that they were themselves trying to be pimps and would poach the girls. And so the presiding judge likened these conditions to a form of imprisonment and enslavement. Now, some shit that sounds like kind of whatever when you're doing it. Don't talk to black guys and this and that. When you're in a court and you're reading this out loud, that's why they started calling it T-African and having these heavy charges. Like, you're keeping, at its most extreme, using psychological methods, you're keeping people in bondage. So people are upset about that. Now, how the hell did he go on for so long? Internal communications from the Las Vegas Metro PD revealed that the Vice unit had pulled up on him at a casino in 2009. He was in a Rolls Royce, and we're like, who is this guy? And they were going to get on him. The high were told he's a priority.
Attorneys for a convicted pimp say they have uncovered new evidence now to bolster their accusations about widespread corruption among former Metro Vice cops.
Now, the allegations raised in new court documents are believed to closely parallel an ongoing corruption investigation by the FBI. As the I-Team reported exclusively, the FBI probe started back in 2014.
And in fact, the allegation surfaced that corrupt Vice detectives were actively protecting his enterprise in exchange for bribes, him setting up, because they got to make busts, him setting up rival pimps, and of course, spending fun time with some of the girls. This all crumbled in 2014. FBI and California Department of Fish and Wildlife, because he had all these exotic animals, executed multi-agency raids in his Las Vegas home. That's where the studio, now, I don't know if he got a new house, but I think that's where the studio where Big U's homicide occurred of a young guy. And he had an Encino mansion. So if Big U's extorting him, also, maybe Big U's just getting what he's got coming, because I'm sure Molly Mall, part of your, okay, he's a big guy and he might be intimidating, but plus I got, whenever you come over to my studio, whenever you see me, I got 3-4 big gang members with me. I'm down with the roller 60s. So that adds to the intimidation. This is organized crime. I think we see here in the blueprint, listen, if I were a rolling 60 or any other street gang member in any city, I would look towards the next few years. They haven't, well, depending what jurisdiction you're in, and they haven't necessarily made as many RICO cases as you might think, but they may start piecing together people in different states and calling them, interstate trafficking of various things. You bring a girl, if I take a girl from Detroit, if she tells me, you're going back to LA, I'm gonna go out there and make some money, I'm just gonna be on the plane with you, I'm broke, just buy my ticket, and when I make some money, I give it to you in LA, and I get out there and I oh, well, I know some guys that be whatever that do this and then I introduce her. Boom, I'm in trafficking right there. Even though I may not even think of it like that, that's enough for a conspiracy. So watch yourself. If you're going to do crime, but don't dabble at the edges. I'm not in it. I don't do favors. I'm not in it. Anything serious, you got to stay out of it. So we took the raid in 2014. There's these swirling allegations of a protection racket within the police. And meanwhile, while Mally Mal, the Egyptian, who didn't let his girls talk to black men, while he was running for 12 years plus, there were lots of black pimps getting football numbers, or in fact,